Here we go, folks. Here we go. Here we go with the New York Mets. All right, everybody, welcome here to the Open Mic program here on Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you, and the New York Mets purge has begun. The Mets have fired Dave Eiland as the pitching coach and Chuck Hernandez as the bullpen coach, and this comes after the Mets had just lost 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, have been playing bad baseball for quite a while, and right now have one of the worst bullpens in all of baseball, and really one of the worst pitching staffs in all of baseball. You take a look at the stats, the Mets right now have a team ERA of 4.67. That is 14th in the National League and 20th in Major League Baseball. And then you add on top of that the bullpen ERA, which is at 5.38. That is the ranked 28th in Major League Baseball. Only the Baltimore Orioles and Washington Nationals are worse in bullpen ERA. But is it really all Dave Eiland's fault? Is it really all on him about what has happened here with the Mets this season? Yes, certainly. You take a look at the Mets pitching staff, and it has been an underwhelming season so far this year. It's been pretty bad. Noah Syndergaard has had his issues so far this year. His ERA is near 5. Zach Wheeler's been inconsistent most of the season. His ERA is near 5. Jacob deGrom has had an uneven season for him. He's had some better starts lately. He just doesn't get any run support. That's nothing new there. Steve Matz, Jason Vargas, they are what they are. But you take a look, the real problem for the Mets, aside from the fact that the starting rotation has been inconsistent, is this bullpen has been awful. And of course, you bring up guys like Jerry Smilia, a 7.81 ERA. This guy couldn't stop a nosebleed. This guy can't get anybody out. He has walked 21 batters this year, struck out only 28. He can't get anybody out. Edwin Diaz, every single time lately that the Mets have trotted out Edwin Diaz, he's given up runs. Gave up the lead, gave up the win against St. Louis last week. The Mets were up 4-2 against the Cardinals last week in a game last Thursday, and they lost that game because of Diaz. In fact, I did the totals. This guy's given up 8 earned runs in his last 6 and third innings. His ERA is over 10, so he has not pitched well of late. And you go up and down the list. Justin Wilson, when he was healthy, wasn't that impressive. Robert Gsellman has been inconsistent. Guys like Drew Gagnon, who, well, pretty much gagged it up the other day against the Atlanta Braves, he got sent down. So there is no help in this bullpen. Nobody can get outs right now for the New York Mets. And like I said, is this really all Dave Eiland's fault? Is it really all of his fault? Yes, you can sit there and say, well, technically, it is the kind of pitching coach has to take some blame for the fact that the pitching staff has not pitched well this year. I totally understand that. But this team was constructed and put together by none other than the general manager, and that's Brodie Van Wagenen. I have been on the anti-Van Wagenen bandwagon for quite some time. I've had concerns since day one of that hire, and we're seeing it come to fruition now. He is the one who gave Jerry Smilia a 3-year contract for $30 million. He is the one that gave Justin Wilson a 2-year, $20 million contract. He is the one that traded top prospects to Seattle, for Edwin Diaz, who was really the jewel of that deal. That's what the Mets wanted. It wasn't Robinson Cano they wanted. They just took him as part of a throw-in. And his contract, which was ridiculous to begin with, they brought in, they traded 2 top prospects again for Diaz and Robinson Cano, and that hasn't worked out. Jed Lowry, a infielder who is 35 years old, now suffering from a knee injury that it seems to be chronic knee injury. He can't seem to get back to the field. He hasn't played in a game for the Mets this year. So it's now blame game time. You have a Met team that is 4 games under 500 at 35-39. They are 7.5 games out of first place right now in the National League East. They look like they are a dead team walking right now. That's what they are. They're going nowhere. They get the Cubs this weekend. 4 games in Chicago. Next week they get 4 games at Philadelphia before returning home to play Atlanta. They're not going to win these games. They're not going to win anything. They're going to sit there, probably going to be, over the next 11 games, 3-8, 4-7. They're going to go limping into the All-Star break, limping into the month of July as a bad baseball team, which is what they are. So it's another June swoon. But as I said, I have to put all the blame, really, on the general manager, because he's the one who brought in all these players. He's the one who went out there and said that this was going to be a team that could compete for a National League East title, which I thought was ridiculous when I heard it the first time, and it looks even more ridiculous now. And he's the one who went out there a month ago, and said that, he endorsed Mickey Callaway as the manager of this team, and that he is going to let Mickey run the show. Now you have to sit there and wonder how much longer Mickey Callaway is going to have to be the manager of this team. How much longer before the Mets drop the hammer on him? That's now a big question as well. So, a lot of problems going now with the Mets. As I said, it's now blame game central. Everyone's going to get blamed. You're going to see guys start to get let go and released and fired. Don't be surprised Chili Davis, the hitting coach, gets axed at some point. That's probably going to happen soon. And then at some point in the next few weeks, don't be surprised, All-Star break, I'm telling you now, All-Star break, do not be surprised if Mickey Callaway gets fired. That's coming. And I know a lot of Met fans want to see that, but that is definitely coming. The thing about Van Wagenen, just to get back on that, on him, is what's really bothered me about it is his whole hire was really a Wilpon production. The Mets, during the offseason, had three other candidates other than Van Wagenen to consider. They had former Brewers general manager Doug Melvin. They had a former Yankee executive and who's now a executive senior vice president for baseball operations in Major League Baseball, and Kim Ning. And they also had Chaim Bloom, who was with the Tampa Bay Rays. They had all these three very qualified candidates, three people who are steeped in baseball personnel to potentially run this franchise. And they decided, no, we're going to go in another direction. We're going to go outside the box and bring in Brodie Van Wagenen to run this team, a guy who's been a player agent for his entire professional career. And look, I'm not trying to take anything away from him as an agent. He's been an excellent agent in his career. He's made a lot of money for a lot of players, and he's done a great job representing a lot of players as an agent. But as a general manager, he is a complete novice, and that is what the Mets brought in. They took the easy way out. They took the cheap option out. And now we get the news on top of this that the Mets have hired an 82-year-old man. I don't believe this. An 82-year-old man to be the pitching coach of this team. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? So here they kick Dave Eiland to the side of the road. Dave Eiland, who was a very popular pitching coach in many baseball circles. I mean, won a World Series with the Kansas City Royals a couple of years ago before he'd taken the Mets job. And he gets kicked to the side for a guy who, when he was a kid, an 82-year-old man, when he was a kid, played with Sandy Koufax. The Mets just keep rolling, as I said, keep rolling downhill. And it's not going to end anytime soon. Remember, folks, to follow us here on social media at OpenMicNJ on Twitter, Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram, and of course, like and subscribe right here to the Sports Talk Nation for the latest here on the sports here in New York, New Jersey sports. And remember, as I said here on the Mets, it's only just the beginning. It's only just the beginning. Mickey Callaway is probably next. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Sports Talk Nation.